everyone for joining us today. I welcome you to the webinar on Business Central Insights with Power BI. It's December, I'm calling both, as you said, and it's December 5th already. Where did our year go? Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'll cover a few things. I want to cover the Business Central tools and the built-in KPIs that are available to you and your users in Business Central. We'll look at what Business Central offers in intelligent insights. How we can enable Power BI in Business Central. We can review reports from your BC Business Central Role Center. And then we'll take a look at the dashboards in Power BI and overview the reports and source data and some of the sample reporting. BI is a very powerful tool, as well as Business Central, that have built in opportunities for us to look at the overview in our business readily on a daily basis. So I'm going to open my screen here, and what you're looking at is Business Central. This is a role center. I have selected today for this demo a accountant role center because it is a good overview of what's available to you in a role center. There are several role centers available if you haven't looked at Business Central yet, and we select our role center in our individual personalization. And you can see here there are dozens of role centers. The role centers are centered around what activities each person performs in their job. And I selected an accountant today just because it's got a good general overview or access to general information, and it's got some great KPIs that are built into the dashboard. So what we're looking here is our activities. We start out our role center with the activities. Actionable items, we can drill into what's going on in terms of active in process documents. Then we're going to take a look at our insights. Insights are pre-configured reports, business assistance insights, and there are a number of charts and graphs available to you, and you can scroll through them through your role center by simply selecting Next Chart. You can change the period and the length at which you look at your chart. You can also scroll back between previous and next period. So here what we're looking at is an overview of your income and expense. It is currently in a view by month state. And if we hover over these tiles, we can see in our graph what makes up that number. What was the total revenue or expenditure and our earnings before interest. So this is a great tool for us to see the oversight in our business readily when we walk in. We open up Business Central, and we can get a great indicator of the pulse of our business. We can also scroll. There are a number of reports available that you may choose. So for example, here I'm looking at an aged accounts receivable by week. Now, as I scroll through each report, I can change and select my duration of time that I'm viewing those. Next chart. And so you can familiarize yourself with the charts that are available in Business Central and select the ones that you want to see on a daily basis on your dashboard. Next, we have some key indicators on finance performance. These are great. We can look at our cash cycle. We can, here we have an overview of the days sales outstanding, what our cash cycle is, days of payment, days of summary. And we can look at this in a period and hover over again any of this chart information to see what the details are. When we look at this, we also have cash flow. So if we want to look at cash flow accounting, we have built-in cash flow under cash management. It is very easy to set up in Business Central. You can manage your manual your manual expenses and your manual revenues. And it's very quick and easy to set up, and it looks at your actual information in your chart of accounts to come up with this information in real time. And I jumped ahead of myself a little bit. Here is my cash flow graph. So in the cash flow forecasting, I can look at receivables, payables, liquid funds, etc. And this gives me an overview right here of what is my cash flow fund. And it updated, you can see today, it updated at 10:16 a.m. today. And I have an overview of receivables, payables, and my liquid funds, sales, purchase orders. I can scroll through and look at this accumulated cash. I can look at my change in cash, and I can look at the combined. I can look at this by start date, working date. Again, I can change my chart. I can edit my manual expenses and revenues here, and I can recalculate my cash flow forecast from here. Again, the cash flow forecasting tool is a very easy tool to set up in Business Central, and it's a very, it's very easy to set up. It's very quick and gives you that great cash flow forecast information in a very short period of time. So bang for your buck, this is a great tool. I can look combined, and then I have an overview of my cash flow. So we have in Business Central the ability to schedule any report in the system for detailed reports, such as an aged accounts receivable report. We have the capability to schedule those reports and send them to our inbox on a regular basis. So for example, every Monday morning, I want to see my aged accounts receivable report. I can certainly run that report, go to that report, schedule it, and it'll appear in my inbox on a regular basis. I can go to aged. Aged accounts payable. And I can also set these reports to print to Excel. So I can schedule the report to here to appear in my inbox. I can also print any report in the system, or just about any report in the system. I can send that to Excel. So we like to work with Excel a lot. It beats the heck out of a lot of paper. And I can run this based on the criteria I've set up in my accounts payable, and I can run this directly to Excel. In addition, Business Central comes with Intelligent Cloud Insights. Basically, this is a small dashboard in and of itself that will introduce you to not only a short number of KPIs that lets us look at our cash and our profitability, but also introduces we have Power BI. You have Power BI in your dashboard too, and we'll go back there in just a second. So when we look at our KPIs, basically, I have a shot at looking at what my cash is available today, sales profitability. This is a key indicator. And we sometimes in a business have to run all these reports. We're dumping things to Excel. We're running a balance sheet. We're running the P&L. We're crunching a lot of numbers so that we can get at what this number is. And Business Central is doing that for us. It's taking a look at, and if you drill in, it's taking a look at the balance sheet, the chart of accounts, and our expenses, and calculating that number for us. So it gives us that indicator on a daily basis. It's happening in real time. Cash available is looking right at our cash account. And of course, we can drill into any of these insights and look at what makes up that number. And so when we're looking at, for example, in this KPI, our net income, it's taking in consideration the values of our income and our cost of goods sold and our expenses, and showing us what our net income is. Okay. Inventory value. This again is just looking at the sum of our inventory accounts. So if we select this and drill in, we have inventory right here. And this would be reflected if we had one account or we had a number of accounts that were related to inventory. It would give me exposure to what my total inventory on hand is. Now, in our insights, we also have some shortcuts, things that we may want to pay attention to. So for example, who are our top 10 customers? Here are, not top 10 customers, excuse me. Here is an indicator that we have customers that are late with their payments. We can select that and it's going to go straight to that list of past due invoices. I have customer insights here on the right, and I have what's called a fact box that tells me customer details so that I could essentially, based on the information I have in my customer card, dial the customer right here, or I can initiate an email from right here. I can create a PDF from this line and email it directly to the customer from Business Central to initiate a reminder for that payment. We also have information where we needed to pay. So some things that we might do, maybe I have a vendor meeting and I want to make sure that I'm up to date. I may be going to a show and I want to see that if I run into these customers, I kind of want to know where I stand, or I run into these vendors, I want to know where I stand. This allows us these pre-filtered lists that bring key things to our attention. And these can be added to, modified, and enhanced. This page, as well as your role center, can be modified to remove or add information that you want to see on your dashboard. Now let's talk a little bit about Business Central, or excuse me, Power BI. In Power BI, we can sync Power BI to Business Central, and we are looking at the information in real time. We simply select reports. This will, once we are synced with Power BI, we select reports, and we can select any number of reports that are either standard reports or reports that we've generated in Power BI and make those available on our dashboard. Once we've synced those reports, we can scroll just like we did with the standard Business Central KPIs and indicators. We can scroll through those reports on our home screen. And that is true for your Insights page as well as your home page. These reports are running again in real time. They're real indicators. We can hover over them again to see what the detailed data is behind them. We can show data. We can go into focus mode and we can show data that makes up those amounts. So I can see the detail behind each of those lines and a more finite number in terms of what this graph is looking at. And I simply go back to report. Now from my home page, I do have Power BI on my home screen on my role center as well. It functions just the same. Initially, we do our setup. We link Power BI to Business Central or vice versa. And we take a look at the reports that we have available to select reports. You can see enabled, I have linked all these reports to my dashboard. And from my dashboard now, I can scroll through the reports. They've added a filter feature where we can filter here on the screen. Just taking a minute for my system to refresh today. So we can take a look, and they've added a filter. So we can now filter on the information that we have. We can expand the report. We can take a look. We can export the data. When we export the data here, we can do summarized data or the underlying detail, and we can select the format that we want to send that out. We can send it to Excel or a CSV file, okay? Of course, if you select underlying data, be cognizant of how much data you're selecting, because that could lead to a delay. I'm going to let my screen refresh, and then we'll take a look at Business Central. I keep saying that. We're going to take a look at Power BI. So let's take a look at, I have Power BI linked to my database. And if I select, I'm looking at my Office 365, and these are the applications that I have available to me and all fully integrated: Outlook, Power Business Central, Power BI, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, okay? So when I look at Power BI, I'm looking at and selecting Power BI. I can take a look at what I have available in my home screen. And I've created this home screen and dashboard based on selecting reports or creating reports and then saving them either to my home screen or my favorites. This is just like creating and saving files on your desktop, except for you have a little desktop here in Power BI. So when we look at, it's going to keep track of, just like your web services does, it keeps track of your favorites or frequent files that you selected. And what I'm looking at here is I'm going to focus on some division sales reports, just to give you an idea of how powerful this addition is. We sync this to our companies or other companies by using this get data. When we do get data, notice that I can use data from my organization, services, files, or database. I've already synced this to my Business Central database, but note that I can get files. This means that I can bring data from Excel or other Power BI desktops or CSV files into Power BI to report on them. As long as you can create a link between the data sets. So for example, if I have a customer number in my Excel data, and I have a customer number from Power BI, and I can link those two together, I can combine the data from the various files. So as long as you can create the data link, you can utilize multiple file types to combine reports. This is particularly helpful in making the transition from another database or an older database going with Business Central and Power BI. We used to spend a lot of time and budget on data conversion because we wanted those year-over-year reports, or we wanted to be able to drill into customer history. Power BI allows us to do that without having to do that heavy lifting and putting all of your history into the new company. We can leave that information in GP, we can download it to a data warehouse, we can have key reports and indicators or key data sets in Excel, and we can combine those databases, those data sets, and combine them with our current data in Dynamics Business Central to make one unified report showing year-over-year history. There are a number of samples available to take a look at in terms of sample reports. I've saved a few favorites just to take a look at what we have available. And then I also have created a dashboard, a custom dashboard to look at inventory. So when we take a look at this, we have I'm looking at division sales for the second quarter here. So what this is offering is information or summaries by sales, customer, by amounts. You can, any data set that you need to combine, you essentially can do that. So actual data sets, dimensions play a big role here. For those are their GP customers, if you're not familiar with dimensions, we should have a follow-up regarding dimensions because they basically replace segments in your chart of accounts, and they're really essential to being able to report like this. I can run P&L by dimension. I can run a balance sheet by dimension. I can look at my revenue and I can break it down by dimension, or I can break it down all the way down to the account level, by account level. So these are some of the reports and information just to give you an idea of what's available and how you can combine data for information and overview, and what's key, really essential to running your business. There are a serious number of reports out here. There is custom reports, and I want to just go back to get data one more time, and I want to select services. So when we select services, this will give you an idea of what's out there in the app source. And we can type Business Central. There are a number of free report services out here, as well as some that you can subscribe to. But this is, if we look at your Smart BI for Dynamics Business Central, this will give you some pre-configured and interactive results to report writing without having to report those, to design those. Additionally, you can look at finance, sales, CRM. There are a number of reports out here, tools that are already out here that you can sync to. So that being said, let's go back to my favorite screen and let's take a look at a custom designed dashboard by Columbus, and this is relative to inventory. And this gives us some great KPIs about our overview of our inventory, if we have lot track inventory, if we are dealing with freshness. We have a pre-configured report pack that is available on the app source to download and sync to your Business Central or your Dynamics Nav platform. So this just gives you an idea of the level of sophistication that we can write reports to in Power BI. This is indicating what I have in stock. These are locations here in my tabs, and I can basically take a look at what is going on in various aspects. I have a number of reports on the screen, okay? How much stock do I have by location? This is my product, this is my quantity, this is my stock value, okay? And this gives it to me in just a little bit different matrix. How much stock, product, and location. So here I have an overview of what I have. This is a product ID, what it is, Athens desk, how many I have, and where are they. Okay. You also have an overview here that's been built, and that is stock, how the stock changes over time. So here we're taking a look back and seeing how this product, we can take a look back. And we've set this report or designed this report to go back to the data set about this item that we have going back to 2015 up to present. And I'm working with the sample data set, so obviously I haven't made a lot of movement in my database since 2017 or 2015. This gives you an indication of what we can do. Okay, this is about inventory stock. This is a key one, okay, in terms of what is my inventory over time. This is a great one for planners to get a quick snapshot of how sales and purchasing is how an item is performing. Again, we have inventory aging, so we can get an indication of what's been in stock and how long it's been in stock. This is a great one as well, especially for items that are not lot tracked, okay? Because it's a little bit different to find aged inventory if your inventory is not lot tracked, okay? So how old is the inventory in stock? Again, we have a graph and we can monitor trends. We can look at inventory turnover. There's a number of graphs going on here, okay? We're looking at our average stock on hand, our average cost, price, sales price, and our average cost, how much is sold. So you have some great, you can create a number of, you have an unlimited amount of creativity here in analyzing your business, your items, your values, your chart of accounts in a number of ways that help you run your business. One of the key things, and I mentioned this before, I think the tools that we have available to us today is we would spend a lot of time in Excel generating a report like this. We would spend a lot of time crunching numbers, maybe exporting multiple general ledger account summaries, creating these summaries, and then maybe even putting together a PowerPoint or a presentation. These reports, once generated, they're providing the information in real time. So when you think about all the time you spend crunching numbers and creating a summary report for the executive team or creating financial reports for the executive team, this is going to do it, and it's going to do it on a regular basis, and it's going to do it in real time at a click of your mouse. Additionally, and I love this feature, I can send this report directly to, I can save it, I can export it to PowerPoint. So I can actually just take this data, I've already made some really great graphs. Now I have to present this to the board. I can publish it to a web page for them. I can share it on a SharePoint site. I can export it to PowerPoint. I can simply export it to a PDF. So I have a number of ways that I can, opportunities to publish this and really take even more steps out of the process of not only creating my data, but presenting my data. Does anyone have, I know that was a swift overview. Do we have any questions?
I'm keeping an eye on the question box right now, but right now we do not have any questions.
Okay.
Give
Well,
everyone a
I want,
moment.
yeah, and I want to just take this time to thank everybody for taking the time to take a look at this quick overview of Business Central and Power BI, and would encourage anyone to follow up with your sales exec or us here at Columbus if you would like to take a deeper dive into either Business Central or Power BI for your business.
Yeah, and thanks again, Colleen, for this great overview and presentation. And kind of basically what Colleen said, if any later questions do come up, please feel free to reach out to us, or as she mentioned, your account exec. But you will be seeing a follow-up email from us with a link to the recording on our website. So thanks again, everyone, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.